Awesome. Well, Cherry Bombers, you are in for a huge treat tonight. Jill Herman, I'm going to read her bio, is a registered nurse, mom of 5 teenagers, lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana, has been with the Juice Plus Company for 11 years, 12 Club Member of the Year, and nominated for 24 Club Member of the Year, and that's at the Eltons. Those are huge awards. She has a blog and a Facebook page that's called Shifting Quickly, and if you're not following it, I recommend that you do tonight. Shifting Quickly helps women find their inner superhero and shift from scarcity to abundance. I love that. And quiet their minds and lead with their gut. And Jill and TK are awesome friends of ours. We love them, and I'm just so excited. I was just sharing that what you just posted in the sideline NMD, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such an awesome call. So Jill, take it away. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Robin. And I see Carmen Maxwell, my buddy. So, yes, I do have wet hair, and I just got out of the shower, but that's just how the evening was. We had a little wrench in our evening, but I knew you wouldn't care. I thought, even though I'm on Zoom, I better be clean. But the other reason I'll tell you that I took a shower is that is where I always gather my thoughts. That's where I meditate. It may sound weird, but that's where I always find that that's where I can center myself. Before I do anything, I always feel better. So I jumped in the shower, and I thought I knew what call we were going to do. I thought I was doing this, but I'm not. What I will do is I'll send it to Robin, and then you guys can put it in your team pages if you want. It's a call that I did for our team. Sorry, my nose is running. I did for our team for our once a month team call, and everyone responded well, and I think it's good content. And I thought, you know what, rather than doing that again, why don't I just give you the recording for that? And tonight, I am just going to go off the cuff. I think it's fun sometimes to not have a specific training. And I'm just going to pour into you what I feel, what really comes to me, and what I think are the most important lessons I've learned over the last decade. I could say all kinds of things to you about how to do certain things and how to, hone your skills but you know what? You've heard that before, and that material is out there. And I probably can't do it any better than anyone else. So what came to me while I was in the shower thinking, I thought, you know what? Whatever words are going to come to me are just going to come to me. So I'll first start with my story, and then I'm going to share with you a few key ahas that I have gained in the last year of my 11 years. And those ahas have absolutely and completely transformed how I do this business, how I look at it, how I feel about it. And if I can share that with you, and you can grab that lens and start looking through that lens now, no matter where you are in your journey, I'll be really, really happy about that, because it's been some big epiphanies for me. So 11 years ago, a complete stranger shared Juice Plus with me. We happened to sit by each other at an unrelated conference, and she happened to be Dr. Candace Corson. I'm sure most of you have heard of her. And when I heard about Juice Plus, I wasn't where a lot of people are. I didn't eat well. I didn't value nutrition. I didn't understand why it was important. And I was a registered nurse. I just didn't get it. And so you never want to prejudge anybody or judge a book by its cover, because while I was, on our breaks, drinking my Pepsi and eating my Doritos, and she was not judging, I ended up becoming a national marketing director. What you don't know that you don't know is what's powerful. So I had no idea that I didn't know about nutrition. There's what you know, there's what you know that you don't know, and there's what you don't know that you don't know, right? So I know I'm a female. I know I don't know how to fly a plane. Positive. But what about what I don't know that I don't know? That's where Juice Plus was. That's where nutrition was. That's where working for yourself was. That's where freedom was. I had no clue that any of that existed or that I could have it. So when I heard about Juice Plus, I wasn't eating well. It was totally normal for me to not feel well, be exhausted, have, migraines and allergies. You've heard this story, right? I was that person. And I ate a lot of toxic food. I was really, 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 really thin. And I thought I was healthy. And my kids had, struggles like eczema and constipation, and that was normal for us. Well, as far as the Juice Plus business, and of course, the moral of the story, right? What happened? We all got better. But as far as the Juice Plus business, that wasn't offered to me. She actually shared the product with me, and I said to her, thinking she owned the company, isn't that kind of funny? She said, yeah, I wish. I actually said to her on my way home from Chicago, 3.5-hour drive, Dr. Corson, I'm the one that you just told, you just shared that juice stuff with. And I already told my best friend, and I told the doctor I work for, and I told my brother-in-law, and I feel like everybody needs this. What you don't know is, and then I told her what I call my behind the scenes, right? So we all know about the highlight reel, right? Everybody's, how are you? Fine. How are you? Fine. Awesome. Great. Emoji, Facebook, right? But then there's the whole behind the scenes. It doesn't mean it has to be tragic, but the behind the scenes is the reality that no one knows is going on. So my behind the scenes was that we were drowning in debt. It was in a different life. I was married to someone else. It was 11 years ago, but we were probably a typical Americans, I guess I would say. We were not overspenders at all. We both just didn't make a lot of money. And we had medical debt because my husband at the time had an unplanned medical procedure, uninsured. And because of his history of cancer, it just tanked us financially. So we were drowning in debt, using credit cards just to support our lives. And I was working as much as I could possibly work as a registered nurse. I was burnout, I was frustrated, and I wanted out, but I didn't know you all existed. And there's someone out there like me, I'm telling you, I didn't know you people, which is now me, existed. I didn't even know about it. It's what you don't know that you don't know. So whenever you feel like there are people who they just don't get it, remember, there is a Jill Herman out there for you, I promise you, who has no idea that you even exist, that this world exists. And so when I said to her, hey, could I maybe work for you? I thought maybe I would be like a pharmaceutical rep or something. And she said, well, you wouldn't work for me, you would work with me. I'll never forget that. And so long story short, that's when my Juice Plus business began. And like everyone else, I had lots of fun, and I had lots of wins, and I had lots of struggle, and I had lots of mistakes. I have funny stories I could share with you where I was just all about convincing people, and I would get into email wars with people over the research, and I tried to just make sure everybody knew about Juice Plus, and I was trying to prove to the world that I was right, and was very defensive and kind of had my dukes up. I don't know if you guys have ever been like that, and it's okay. I feel like that's sort of like a rite of passage. Juice Plus, you have to kind of go through that. But I'm going to share with you now the biggest lessons for me that I wish I had known then. And some of them you're just going to have to learn on your own, but at least you can say, oh, I remember when she told me that. And some of them you don't have to learn on your own. Some of them you can choose after this call to say, okay, I'm choosing to see it this way. Okay, and I don't have these written down. These are just like, I feel like they're kind of tattooed on my heart because they're so important to me now. So I realized, and some of this won't be new for you. Some of you will say, yeah, I already knew that. Okay, so just choose to be super open right now, because something's supposed to land for you. I don't know what, but all of you will have something that you take away that you can apply to your business tonight. So probably one of my biggest lessons in the 11 years of doing this is that we are the ones that are getting in our way. We are the ones standing in our way. This business of ours, I truly believe, and I've been saying this for about 1 year now, that's when my biggest epiphany happened, and I'll share with you in a minute. I believe this business is 90% mindset and only 10% mechanics. 90% mindset and 10% mechanics. And I think the problem for a lot of us is that we are focusing so much on the mechanics that when we're trying to get so good at that, and we're thinking that's the problem. Now, you have to have the mechanics. There are some basic skills that are super important, right? Talking to people, sharing your story, following up, inviting to events. You can't deny that. Those are very important to get better at those. But what I find is that the problem is that we're focusing so much on that, and we're forgetting that not only is 90% of the pie what we're thinking, the other part that we're forgetting is that 90% will absolutely, completely trump the mechanics all day long. So I can show you, and your leaders can show you, and the company can show you how to do those mechanics to the point where you're perfect at them. You're the best of the best. right? But if you don't think you're good enough and you don't think you're enough and you don't think you deserve it and you think this and you think that, even if it's subconscious, it don't matter. It truly doesn't matter. That's one of my biggest takeaways. My 11 years and any struggle I've had, I hope goes into that lesson for you. That it is 90% about what you think. The thoughts you think, the energy you're putting out into the world, the thoughts you think about yourself, the things you tell yourself, things you say about yourself, what you think about success or failure. That's what's really creating the success or the non-success in our business. And I could spend an hour just talking about that, which I would love to. But this is where personal development comes in. That's not it's not fluff, it's not woo. The personal development piece is so important. And I'm so grateful that our company is now recognizing that. And I will say finally, right? That's why they have the Brene Brown program. But even that's not enough. The Brene Brown program is unbelievable. But you know what? We need, in addition to that, to be reading books and listening to podcasts and scheduling that into our week. Because, I have hundreds of women on my team. And I find every single minute, not every now and then, but every single minute, that we are the ones getting in our way. They are the ones getting in their own way. And I can't help them with that piece. Because what I used to think, and what you might be thinking, and if you're newer, you don't think this yet, but you think it of your customers, or you think it of your prospects. If you're a little bit more seasoned, you think it is of your team. I used to think, if I just train them enough, well enough, if I just love them enough, if I just do this enough, then this will happen for them. Because not only is it on me, not only do I owe it to them, not only is it my responsibility, if I were good enough and I were good enough at this, I could make that happen. I could make more qualifiers. I could somehow convince Sally that she can and will be a sales coordinator or a senior sales coordinator. I used to think that, and I'll tell you what, I think most people in the Juice Plus business think that way. We just don't talk about it. And one thing that Carmen and Robin both know about me is I'm definitely a straight shooter, and I have no problem saying what everyone else is thinking, sometimes too much, but that's something that's not talked about a lot in the Juice Plus business. But I'm not here to be your favorite national marketing director. I'm here to tell you the truth. And I'm here to be so real and raw with you that you at some point say, I'm actually glad she told me that. One of the things that was never told to me was that it might be difficult. This business might be difficult. It kind of was painted, this picture was painted to me like, you just kind of like da-da-da and then da-da-da. And I was like, why isn't this happening for me? What am I doing wrong? And, it's a struggle because this is a business, and I can't take credit for this statement. This is my friend Sandy Ballou said this, where the jig is up. Sandy's so cool. If you don't know Sandy, she says, this is where the jig is up, right? And I say, this is where you have to take yourself on. The reason the jig is up is that you can't run, you can't hide. Your vulnerable spots, weak spots, blind spots, whatever you want to call them, they are not flaws. Those parts of you that need to be worked on won't just be exposed in the Juice Plus business. They will be magnified, and it's like putting a spotlight and a magnifying glass on them. And this is why we lose people. The only reason I think that we really lose people in the beginning is because that starts coming up and it's too uncomfortable, and they just don't want to walk through that messy. They're just not ready to do that, and that's okay. But if you're willing to walk through that messy, right, the difficult part, the sticky part, the icky part, the part that's uncomfortable, makes you itchy, even if it's a slow process or a painful process, if you're willing to walk through it, you know this. The gifts on the other side are so much bigger than you can imagine. I'm not talking about national marketing director. Okay, let's just be really honest about that. That's like 2% of people who choose to do that. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I think everybody can do that. I think everybody is entitled to that. I think everyone deserves it, and you're all capable of it. But the truth is, you don't have to do that. I think it's refreshing to be able to say that to people. You don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want in this business, right? You can go whatever pace you want. The 3 mantras for my team are, you're a blessing whether you do a little or a lot, Wendy Campbell. You get to go at your own pace. And the third one is, you're acceptable as you are. And those are mantras / promises that I made to myself 1 year ago that I made to my team. And this is what we live. And I am now passing it on to you, that you are a blessing no matter what. But let's hear the other two. You get to go at your own pace. Now you're going to see people get highlighted to go fast. You're going to see the fast trackers go to our conferences. That's all it's about. But guess what? That doesn't mean you have to do that. That's like blasphemy to some people. Don't tell my team they don't have to go fast. Guess what? It doesn't matter what I tell you, because you're going to go fast or slow no matter what. So you get to go at your own pace. And when we highlight the people that go fast, you get to see what's possible, and you get to be inspired by it, not compare yourself to it, not say, I need to be that, I should be that, why aren't I not that? Nope. Just be inspired by it, see what's possible, do whatever you want with it. But you do get to go at your own pace. And the third one, you're acceptable as you are. The reason I have that one is because I think in this business, a lot of times we feel like we need to be more. We need to be better. We're not good enough. Deep down underneath everything, all of us, no matter how successful, happy, centered, developed you are personally, we all do have the underlying subconscious fear that we are not enough, right? I have a note card above me right now that says, I am enough. We all have that, whether we know it or not, it's true. In addition to that, I think in a business like this, some people think, well, I need to be a health professional. I need to be a Dr. Sears health coach. I need to be a vegan. Or I need to be a size whatever. I need to be thin. I need to work out all the time. Now, those things are all great, but no, you don't. You don't. You are acceptable as you are. And this message is so important that we need everybody to share it. And I hope that after this call, you never compare yourself to anyone else in this business, right? Because I wasn't the girl who was eating tofu and wheatgrass, and Carmen knows that. I was eating fast food. I was living on donuts and Cheetos, and I didn't know any better. And I figured out a way to get to national marketing director. Now I eat healthier now, but I'm still not like where I should be, right? But that's okay, all right? So I went off on that tangent, but I think it's important. Those mantras apply to what we're saying. So we are the ones getting in our way. We are the only ones stopping ourselves. And, you know, when you look at your teams and your prospects, probably too, but let's look at your team members. I think one way we get in our way isn't just our limiting beliefs. We'll talk about that for 1 second. Let's stop there for a second. Some people are very familiar with this. A couple of you may not be. So the limiting beliefs are those stories that we've been telling ourselves since we were children. It doesn't matter if you had a beaver cleaver childhood or not. We all have limiting beliefs. So I call them head trash. We all have it. We have stories in our head that are in our mushy part of our brain called the subconscious brain. And then the conscious brain we think is in charge, but it's not. The subconscious brain is actually in charge. And it's the bus driver. It's driving the bus, telling us where to go, and we don't realize it. So the conscious brain develops later. The subconscious brain is developed as soon as we're born. And there's no filter with the subconscious brain. Everything is just true. And if you don't believe me, there is a red guy with a big jolly belly and a red suit, you know, who's gonna, with a big white beard, is gonna come down your chimney, right? You believed that when your parents told you that. So those limiting beliefs that develop when we're children, because of all kinds of things we observe, things people say, and the meaning we attach to things, those go into our subconscious. Stuck in there. And then we filter everything through those our entire lives. This is a true story. Everything is filtered through those subconscious stories. You can become hugely successful and happy and have a wonderful marriage and life and still have those and not know they're there. When you figure out what they are and you can reprogram that, that's when your life truly, truly starts becoming magical. But we all have it. So when we talk about not comparing ourselves, you know, one of you who's brand new, let me tell you, Robin has the same head trash that you do. It just may look different. You know, Jay Martin has it. Everybody, Oprah Winfrey has it. Everybody has these stories. It's just who lets them rule their life and who doesn't. Who recognizes it and who doesn't. Who parks there for a minute with a penny in the meter and who lives there for 10 years. That's the difference. So what I've realized is that when we look at ourselves in this business, not only are we letting those limiting beliefs determine whether or not we're successful in life, aka Juice Plus, because it's the same thing. The other thing is that we are spending so much of our time, our energy, our thoughts, our words, tell me this isn't true, on the people that are not saying yes and the team members that are not going where we think they should go or that where they say they're going to go. We do it. We talk about our team that won't do anything and our friends that don't come to our events and our customers that cancel. And those are things that are true. They're real. They stink. But what I have found, this is just my experience, what I have found is that I was, not anymore, I was, and many people still are, spending too much time on that. We should be spending no time on it. I hope you get to the point where you get to the point where you're so well trained that you don't spend any time on it. And I truly 100% in the last year have gotten to that point where I don't even think about it anymore. But if you're spending time thinking about that, it's no different than your new team members spending all their time frustrated that Sally Sue or Mary or Joe won't order Juice Plus, and you're coaching them not to do that while you're doing the same thing about your team. Don't focus on them, Mary. Move on to the next person. Yeah, but they could, and Mary's in love with their potential, what could happen. And you are doing the same thing with your team. In love with their potential, what you think they could do, what maybe they should do, what you want them to do. And you don't even realize you, and I'm talking to myself too, are doing that. Now, is it bad or wrong? No, it's not bad or wrong to do that. But I'm here tonight, remember, to talk to you about what's holding you back. It is holding you back. It's slowing you down. You've probably heard the saying, what you think about, you bring about, right? What you focus on expands. So if we're focusing on and thinking about the team members that aren't going fast enough, or they're not keeping their word, or they're not following through, or you just seriously love them so much and you want it so badly for them and you keep talking about it, not only will you get more of that because that's what you're focusing on, the other piece I figured out is that we are, when we do that, we are not leaving space, energy, and time and room in our heads for the people that do want to do something. It's like when I was new, I fixated on and focused on all of the, and I don't mean to be offensive when I say this, it's supposed to be funny, but truly I focused on the sick, broke people. Everyone who was sick with a chronic illness, I was going to fix them. Everyone who was broke, I was going to rescue them. Well, that was the enabler in me, and that's the rescuer in me that I have now recognized. Is that bad or wrong? No. I'm a nice person. I like to help people. But guess what? Didn't help that many people because I kept trying to convince them and coach them and rescue them and enable them and coerce them and bribe them and somehow get them to X, Y, or Z. And I was not focusing on the fit woman in my neighborhood who was walking 2 miles every single day. I wasn't focusing on the yoga instructor. I wasn't focusing on the people who are already eating fruits and vegetables. Hello, right? So with our team, it's the same thing. When we're focusing so much on what's not, the percentage that don't, it's not just stealing our joy. It's not just slowing us down. It's also preventing us from attracting and welcoming in and being able to celebrate the people that are excited to do this, who are going to be teachable and coachable, who are ready to do this. Even if it's at a slow pace, they're ready to be teachable and be connected, engaged, and they will answer you back on Voxer, right? How many Voxer messages do we find ourselves making for people before we realize they really don't care? They're actually not listening, right? But we just think if we just make one more, it just might do the trick, right? What I have found is we are just not that important. We think we are. I thought I was. I thought that if I did enough, as I said, certain things will happen. Here's the truth. I truly, I don't just believe this, I know this. Oprah asks people, what do you know to be true? Or what do you know for sure? Whatever she says. I'm going to tell you I know this for sure. There's no doubt that I have very little to do, if anything, with the success of anyone on my team. In fact, I get no credit. What I did was I took all the blame. I had no problem accepting the blame. What am I doing wrong? Don't we do this? Well, I didn't have someone reach 2,000 plus. How did she have a 2,000 plus? Gosh, what am I doing wrong? She did the same thing you did. She just happened to have someone who was teachable and coachable, had a burning desire, and who was willing to show up and work. Teachable and coachable, burning desire, and willing to show up and work. I got those 3 success ingredients from my Australian friends. And that's what our That's what our team teaches. You love everybody. Everybody. You send them all love. You show them the way. You that's afraid to. It's hard to hear and it's hard to even say, because I thought, oh, that's rude, right? The nice part of me was like, that's so rude, guys. Just in the last year, it took me in the last year. 1 year ago, September, I finally what I do. Now that is not just like when people say, oh, Juice Plus does this or that. I can just eat fast food, just go signing people up, right? Or signing people up and you do nothing, right? But I will tell you that if you did bring someone into the business, and if you did nothing, I'm not encouraging you to do this, but I'm going to be real with you. If you did nothing, if they're in that 5%, they're doing it anyway. They are. They're going to figure out a way to be successful because they want it, because they have a burning why, because they're meant to. So no, we don't just, sign people up. I don't even like the word sign up. I think, okay, that we're not signing people up. It's not Little League, right? You're mentoring. The message that Robin was referring to that I just put in Boxer, and she can forward that to your teams, was based on a video I just watched today. It's mentoring / coaching, inspiring is totally different than managing and coercing and convincing and chasing, right? So you can be extremely inspirational and not move from where you're standing and be that thermostat and never lower your temperature. You can. You don't have to do a lot to make that happen. And so what I realize is the cream will rise to the top. And this is no judgment, by the way, when I say that. It's not like bad good. But let's be real. The people that are in that 80%, or let's just break it down like this. When we look at our teams, I'm going to tell you that statistically across the board, indirect sales / network marketing, I know we're neither, but good Lord, we're something. We're a part of it, right? So in this arena that we're in of home-based businesses, this business, 80% of us won't do anything. We will be what I would call members. It's like a gym membership. You look at a Planet Fitness or something like that, right? These are the people that buy the membership. They drive by and they say, well, there's my gym, right? But they don't really do anything, and that's okay. They're happy. They might walk in every now and then with a towel around their neck and visit with people and drink their water bottle and leave. Leave them alone. That's what they want. They're not incapable. They don't need me to bother them and to keep going over and saying, you sure you don't want to work out? You could work out. I know you could be super fit. No, there's someone not watching here who does this. Because I thought that was the kind thing to do. I didn't do it because I was pushy. I did it because I thought it was the kind and right thing to do as a leader. Don't abandon people. That was my motto. I'm not, no man left behind, right? I'm not abandoning anyone. What I really know to be true now is that 80% guys, they just want to be. They want to just show up on the team calls, do what they want to do, come to some potlucks if they want. They know you love them. They know that they're capable. They just either aren't ready, it's not the right time, or it's just not for them to do more, and that's okay. This is counterintuitive in our business. This is not what we're taught, but I know this is true. And then 15% of that 100%, they're the people at the gym that they go. There's some sort of goal. They might go once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. They might have a little goal or a big goal, but they have a goal. Like they want to be healthier, or they want to lose 10 pounds, but they show up, right? When the gym leaves them a message, they call them back, right? When they walk in the door, someone knows their name. You guys, you're on this call. Only 5% of that membership is going to actually say, I want to be a leader. I want to have a large team. I want to do something big with this. And it doesn't make them any better than anyone else. That's just how they show up. The other people could end up becoming a different part of that percentage breakdown if life changes, or if they change, or if they do personal development, or if they just feel like it, but they may not. And I spent years trying to get the 80% to do more not because I wanted to push them or because I was trying to reach a goal. Let me be clear. Do you know how if you're talking about somebody and it's gossip, you can justify it and say, well, I'm just concerned about them. So I'm not really gossiping. Tell me you have never done that. It's still gossip. When you look at this, looking at the 80% and trying to get them to do more or be more for a good reason still feels the same to them. I thought I was doing the right thing. I'm trying to help them. And I really believed that. I now know for sure that it didn't feel good to them. And I thought, well, I can't abandon them. And some of them were thinking, dear Lord, get her away from me. They're fine. So that's another big aha that I have had. I would also say that not only are we spending lots and lots of time on the people who don't want to do a lot in our business and trying to change that outcome, we're also spending a lot of time comparing ourselves to other people. And I know I mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, but I mean, Facebook and going to our national conferences are two of the coolest parts of this business. And I also think that they can be a hotbed for comparison. I mean, I love social media. I love Facebook, but I sometimes look and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing it right. They're doing it better than I am. Or I'm getting ready to go to our conference, which I would never miss our conferences. They're the best gift our company gives us. But what I do sometimes with our conferences is I turn it into a hotbed of comparison. Oh, these are the people that are doing the best. These are the people receiving the awards. So be very careful that you don't spend time at all doing that, let alone too much time, because it's taking away from your experience and it's taking away from who you are, and it's just wasting precious time. What else? Let me think. Another thing that I see a lot that I have learned, let me go back to this. I'll go back to this. What I've learned about myself in this business is, one, I'm not that important, right? It doesn't really matter how much I do. People are just going to show up how they show up. The people that are going to really make this work, guys, they're going to figure it out. Don't stress too much. Systems are great and we need them, but almost with any system, they'll do well. They just will. Oh, when I was talking about Voxer, let's just talk about Voxer for a minute. One of the best gifts to our company. Use it every day. I can't imagine not having it. And there's a flip side. I was spending so much time in Voxer. My friend Linda, if you don't know who Linda Evenden is, she's the #1 earner in Australia. And we grew up in this business together. We're both in the same organization. We started at the exact same time. And before I tell you what she says about Voxer, I'm going to tell you a story that most people don't know. I would say there are probably 10 people who know this until tonight. So years ago, we were sitting in the National Marketing Director meeting together. And we had been introduced in the business by Lauren Slocum. And I had just trained on stage at our conference. And Linda said, oh, I really identify with you. And we became friends. And back then, no one knew who she was. And we were sitting at the National Marketing Director meeting. And she looked at me, and I won't get the words exactly right because it's been a few years, but she said something like, you know what? I am tired of being complacent. And we were both in a pretty good place. We were both 24 Club National Marketing Directors, not a shabby place to be. But she just said, I feel like I've become complacent. Do you want to like blow this thing up with me? I'm ready to just, I'm just seriously like, everything's changing. And I said, no, I will pop popcorn and watch you. I knew I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to do more. I wasn't ready to be more. I wasn't ready to develop myself enough to get to have more and be more. I just wasn't ready for that, because what you have in your Juice Plus business is a direct reflection of your personal development, 100%. So Linda turned around and in the next 3 years became the #1 earner of Australia, earning lots of income. She probably has 5 100 Club National Marketing Directors direct to her, huge in our organization. Why am I telling you that story? Because Linda told me about a year ago, she said, you know what, Jill? She goes, I'm going to tell you what I think of your Voxer. They don't use Voxer. She says, it's the chat shop. It's a chat shop. And I said, what? And she said, Jill, you guys are wasting months, not minutes, months of time chatting back and forth, feeling like you're working. And I said, oh my gosh, you're right. So I started looking at how much time I was spending in Voxer. And what I realized, maybe not you, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. What I realized is that not only was I spending too much time in there, I wasn't really growing my business. I was getting back to chasing people. I was going back to where I used to be, where I was coercing and loving on too much. And, you know, I will love you and pet you and squeeze you and hold you. Remember that cartoon when we were little? Some of you are too young, Marielle, to know what that means. But I was hovering. And when we are not growing ourselves, we don't have enough growing in our own business, what happens? We got to do something. Hey, maybe I'll make a message to my team. What's she doing? Hey, what are you guys doing? It's subconsciously, it's distracting us from getting our own work done. If I were out there bringing on new team and hosting events and really doing the do, which should be 80% of my time, 80% of my time really should be bringing on new team and new customers and doing that. And 20% or less managing. I was spending 80% of my time managing. But if I were really doing that, I wouldn't have time to be on Voxer very much, except for quick messages and talking to my direct new people, right? So again, I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, but I just want to tell you that that's something that changed for me, that I use it every day and I love it. And, not but, and. I'm not in a bunch of chats. I'm not in chats I don't need to be. And I also realized this was very difficult for a control freak like me. I realized that I needed to see every person on my team, even the brand new ones, as 100% capable. That is hard because they're like baby birds, and you might be a baby bird. I might have a new person too. It doesn't bother me that she messages me 20 times in a day in her first 30 days, right? Don't you remember what that feels like? Oh my gosh, what do you say when people say this? What do you say when people say, I love it. It doesn't bother me at all. But I know that I see her as 100% capable, and that once she has those questions answered, she doesn't need me a whole lot. I don't need to be in the chat with her person's new person's new person's new person. I don't need to be in a chat with my sales coordinators, new people's new people, personally. It was difficult for me, but what I realized is when I let go of that, and I assumed they were capable, and I went, it was scary. You guys, they flew. They blossomed. They spread their wings. They were able to just breathe and not have me over helping. So I thought I'd gotten over the over helping thing until I looked at Voxer and realized I'm doing it in there. So I saw them starting to form relationships with each other, planning events together, doing things that I didn't know about, and they're becoming independent, excited business owners. And the less they need me, the better. And that's not like speaking as a national marketing director. As a sales coordinator, you can have team members like that. Okay, so I guess the thing I'll close with, and if you have time, we can do questions. If not, we won't. But the personal development that you and I do, the growth that we do on ourselves. Now, the business alone is just going to grow us because it does, right? It's a personal development course disguised as a business. You've heard that. That's David Beavers. So the business itself, if you don't quit, is going to grow you. It has to. If you stay involved and you stay connected, it will grow you. But the other piece that we do separate from that, reading the books, listening to the podcast, doing courses, whatever we can do to look at the blind spots, the head trash, all that. The level at which you grow yourself as a person, that will determine not just your success in Juice Plus business, how you feel about it. It will determine how you feel about it. You might be able to allow yourself to go a little slower and feel good about it. You might be able to allow yourself to have more balance in your life and not feel like you're not doing enough. Because when you focus on being grateful and you focus on being centered and being confident, and you know yourself, and those limiting beliefs aren't just constantly driving your life, it's a pretty nice way to live. And so your Juice Plus business actually becomes something that you work at, but you don't work so hard at it to get the same results, right? You have to work, right? You got to follow up, you got to do, but you're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not sweating, and it's not blood, sweat, and tears kind of work. It's work. It's I have a schedule. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow through. When people are watching TV, I'm on my phone working. It's work. It doesn't feel the same though. What I realized truly, you guys, and again, many of you have already figured this out. I did not get this fully until 1 year ago, September. Everything has changed for me. When I work now, it feels different because it's lighter. It takes less effort. You might say, well, gosh, you have 11 years experience. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the energy. I'm talking about the negative thoughts that aren't there. Not stressing over, I'm just seeing Marielle here. I sponsor her, let's say, and I don't worry anymore about what she's going to do or not going to do. I know that's hard to believe, but you can do that. You just don't worry about it. You love her. When she shows up, you're there. You leave the light on for her. You let her know you're there. You're present. She sees you moving forward, right? And you say, okay, this is where I am. When you're ready, I'm right here. But that's it. She's not in your head 24 hours a day when she's not calling you, when she's not voxing you back, when she's not responding. And am I the only one who's ever done that? Just a year ago, I was still doing that, Carmen. I was further than I was. I wasn't carrying people on my back, and I could brag about that. That was true. I wasn't doing everything for everyone, but I still was allowing people to live in my head rent-free. They were still in my head. I'm eating dinner with my family thinking about why Sally Sue hasn't responded, and Sally Sue ain't thinking about me. She's eating her dinner. Isn't that interesting? So when we can do that and be at an event, not think about the people that didn't show up. So-and-so's not here, so-and-so not here. Oh, they said they were going to be here. Oh, I have another empty seat. Have you ever done that? That was my life in Juice Plus. But really focusing on those that are there and ignoring the people that aren't there and realizing it's okay. Things change for you. Things look different for you. Outcomes are different. You feel different about your business. Your team responds to you differently. When we feel insecure ourselves about our own growth in Juice Plus, we try to control the outcome of the businesses of our team. When we feel insecure about our own outcomes in our Juice Plus business, we try to control the outcomes of our team members. And it comes in the form of helping them, coaching them, mentoring them. Okay? So I hope it's okay that I just kind of shared off the cuff like that. Carmen, is there anything specific, or Robin, that you want to ask me? I know we're at 45 minutes in